Hello, my name is Mike, and welcome back to the Council. Episode 2 is out of this episodic game, and I really enjoyed the first episode, so you better believe I'm going to come back and play the second one. I have long been a fan of these episodic narrative games. I really enjoyed Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1 when that first came out, but I really feel like Telltale hasn't pushed the envelope much. They really revolutionized the genre with their Walking Dead game, and they have released a bunch of games since then that really haven't enhanced the experience in the same way that The Walking Dead did. But I think the Council, by adding all of these new RPG elements, really pushes the genre to new and interesting places. I really hope to see more games of this caliber in the future. I'm really excited to see how my choices are going to play out, see what kind of branching pathways are open to me based on my decisions I've made so far, and where I've put my skill points and everything else. And let's try and unravel the mystery of what happened to our mother and what secrets this manor holds.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. However, there may be some new developments, but I don't know if they are linked to your mother. We have found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room.
Oh.
I'm afraid she was brutally murdered, stabbed several times.
Oh. She's the one who asked me to help, and instead I went to go get laid. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm not going to say anything.
Duchess Hillsborough informed us that she accompanied you at the beginning of the evening. You apparently bumped into Miss Adams, who wanted to speak to you. We are told you turned her away, and she went away on her own.
That's correct.
Do you know what she wanted to see you about, by any chance?
I haven't the slightest, actually, which is a bit frustrating. She was not very open with me. I am surprised that she's dead.
Not in the least.
Pity. The poor child was probably trying to find help.
I thought it could wait until tomorrow.
Apparently not. Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed.
Please.
I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why's that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Okay. Off to a very sudden start here. Very dire situation. My mother is missing, but now we have the murder of this young girl, the daughter of eventually he would become the second president, John Adams. Elizabeth Adams is dead. Are there any suspects? You said you don't suspect anybody, but do you suspect anybody?
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi, so I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Napoleon and Washington could have murdered John Adams' daughter. Perhaps. Any other details you're willing to share?
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
You don't have to give me your subjective opinion. Just give me some details about what happened.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
If they've been notified, I'm not going to be able to find anything they've been hiding. That's kind of the problem with Alright, well, investigate Elizabeth Adams' death. This seems precarious, and maybe a bit reckless to not have guardrails guarding whatever that is. Let's see, I have 3 skill points available right now, and I have 3 royal jellies. I should take at least one of those. There, now we got 5. You never know when that might be important to be able to use my skills. Let's talk to the holy man here. Hello.
I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams.
Napoleon!
But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing.
It's good to know.
Not to worry, Your Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm welcome.
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say.
I don't know either. I suppose investigating her corpse, the sign of the attack, probably prudent. Let's do that first. Is this the site of the attack? Why is there a satanic pentagram etched into the floor? A broken wine bottle? Overturned chairs? Was there a struggle here? Oh. Found a dead body. Yep, that's her alright. Probably. Alright, first things first. Definitely signs of a struggle here. What is this? Torn wallpaper? Maybe. Overturned furniture. Yeah, a lot of bottles around here.
A chest with a half-circle pattern.
I don't... Oh, do I have the key for that one? There are a bunch of different keys. I got one. I guess I can just use the key for this. Is it... Oh, there's royal jelly, I think. I love royal jelly. And amber. So now I have an additional effort point. Excellent.
An untutored hand copied these notes. Looks like a healing method. Well, that's a pity. The writing is barely legible.
I can't analyze them because I have no points in occultism. And my science is also locked, so I guess I'll just hold on to these. No, I have not been putting a whole lot of points into all the occult skills. Oh, that is a grisly scene. So I'm probably not going to be able to do a lot with the evidence around here. I put a lot of points into people skills, not a whole lot into object skills.
Vials of laudanum.
I don't know what laudanum is, because I don't put any points into science, apparently.
The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America.
Washington.
I wonder if Washington's involved.
Or maybe not, since Elizabeth Adams is also from America. So, maybe not.
The clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. That would clear Emily de facto because she was still with me at the time.
Yeah, if we take this clock as proof, which is not really the case, if someone came in here and murdered this girl and then adjusted the clock, they could very easily make it seem like the attack happened earlier or later than that. But we'll tentatively say the attack probably happened around 4 o'clock. If someone is able to corroborate that by saying that they heard signs of a struggle, then perhaps we can put more faith into that. What is this blood smear on the wall?
Blood spatter indicates that the murderer must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that.
But it looks like he eventually succeeded. Or she, if the murderer is a female. Looks like she had finished eating. So that was after dinner, it looks like. Yes. A lot of candelabras around here. And there's rope. Oh. She had also drawn a pentagram with rope. If that was her, I'm not entirely sure about that. What's down here?
Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
But it can't have come from Elizabeth, because I have put points into etiquette, and because I have put a lot of points into etiquette, this is nice and easy.
It's a travel dress. The silk has been lightly waxed to protect it from bad weather. And I know the very woman who came up with the idea, given all the traveling she does. My mother. God help us. Why did she come here in the first place? The material appears to have undergone abnormal wear and tear. She must have been scouring the countryside, and that doesn't look good.
I don't know what to make of this. I found a scrap of my mother's clothing here. If it is indeed hers, I've not verified if that's the case or not. But if we can make the assumption that that is my mother's clothing, was Elizabeth holding on to my mother's clothing, a scrap of my mother's clothing, or is my mother involved? My dear Elizabeth, your last letter gave me much cause for concern. Your words were so cold, as if emotions no longer matter to you. Father maintains that the secondary effects of your treatment still trouble you, but that they will soon subside. Should I believe him? I cling to the belief that we shall soon see each other again, at long last. Right soon, your loving sister Abigail. P.S. Don't forget to tell me what present you want. This letter leads me to believe that maybe she decided to kill herself. However, considering how violent her death was, that's probably not the case. More books down here.
A notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out.
For plebeians, but for those who are knowledgeable such as myself...
It looks like a mixture of medieval Latin and Anglo-Norman. It is difficult to make sense of this jerky writing. I can make out some passages, though. He's coming. The demon is upon me. He's coming back to kill me. There she is. Death has come to finish me off. I've just run into her son. That was her last entry. What tortured writing.
She's obviously referring to me there. I am pretty much the only son around here. We obviously know my mother is involved, somehow.
A novel of the initiation of a young woman into polite society.
Oh. So Elizabeth Adams is immune. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, because she's dead. So, yeah, she's gonna be immune to a lot of things now. My words aren't gonna be able to sweet-talk information out of her anymore. Is this a firearm by the door? Is that what I'm looking at here? Probably relevant.
A pistol? Fairly new, I'd say. And judging by the weight of it, fairly light.
But somebody would have heard gunshots. A lot of different things I could check out. Well, let's observe it top to bottom. Check inside the barrel.
It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and well, there's no traces of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently.
Might be a red herring. I doubt it was used as a blood instrument.
A tribute engraved on the barrel. To the liberators of France.
French pistol. So, I guess that might implicate Napoleon, unless this was also planted evidence.
There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip. Difficult to know for sure how they got there.
Blood on the grip of the gun.
Right. I shall have to find its owner.
Well, it's French, so it's probably going to be Napoleon or Peru. Those are the only Frenchmen we know around here. What's this down here?
Huh. The talisman that I gave back to Elizabeth. I can't exactly say it brought her good luck.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I gave that talisman to Elizabeth, and then she was very curt to me. Okay, I think I've checked out mostly everything. I suppose it's time to check out the body now. What a grisly sight. Wouldn't you say so? It looks pretty bad, doesn't it? I think you're voiced by a familiar person I've heard before. Are you Kirk's Gazat? Your voice sounds a lot like his.
Has finished with this room?
Who made such a mess of this room? Give me the name.
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir.
So it sounds like maybe all these upturned furniture was her doing, and might be a red herring as well. That nullifies a lot of potential evidence. I'm not done yet, no.
No,
I haven't gone over everything yet.
Well, let's check out this... What is that, a knife? She was stabbed? I can't analyze the knife. My logic is locked. I can look at the blade, though.
The blade is short and thin. Well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh.
And that doesn't give me any new information.
The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand.
A small and slender hand, like she was stabbed perhaps by a woman? This could not be the work of my mother, although she would probably have a slender hand. Okay, noted. And all these bottles.
Knocked over bottle of wine.
I can't analyze the smell. Yes, all of my object skills are locked. But it smells. I am now drunk. I'm drunk because I smelled wine? Really? That is some powerful wine.
What plonk is that? Hey, it's a Bordeaux. That's a Chateau de Briand. It's a great wine. I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable.
It's also unsmellable, apparently. Don't want to smell that.
Poor girl bled to death.
Are we sure of that?
Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe.
A lot of different evidence here. The small, slender handprint on the knife indicates perhaps a female. The French engraving over there, the French item. And then there is the big boot print that could be Peru or Washington. I guess it's more evidence that it could be Peru. Alright, let's check out the horrific body. Yep, that's a dead body, alright. She has all these crazy tattoos. Looks like she might have been strangled, too.
I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. She also has old scars around the neck. Maybe mutilations.
Let's examine her nose.
She bled from the nose.
Yup. Can't do anything with that. I can observe the bleed, though.
There's signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising.
I don't know if that's relevant or not.
What a strange smell.
Smells like blood and wine, perhaps? A smell common at the court of the king.
Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness.
So Elizabeth consumed plenty of laudanum, which might have been the cause for her violent outbursts. Let's move on to the upper body, where all the stab wounds are.
I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death.
That does seem to be the case. Although, is that true?
It looks as though the wounds were inflicted from a precise angle. As if the murderer was standing behind Elizabeth.
Stabbed from behind? Really? Okay, could have been a sneak attack. Well, sure, we'll examine the tattoos as well.
Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by.
Well, that's messed up.
The same kind of tattoo is on the rest of her body.
Huh. Yeah, this girl has not had an easy life, it would seem.
There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars.
Or track marks on the wrist. Yeah, there's some scarring there.
People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control.
Is there anything notable about the scars?
Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts.
Probably not relevant to my investigation. Just more evidence that she was not exactly mentally stable. And I suppose we'll move down to the hands.
No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol.
I'll use my last skill point to observe the wrists.
No marks or bruising around the wrists. doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force.
I probably could have divined that without using my last skill point. No, it looks like she wasn't bound up, and the stabbing wounds indicate that she might have been taken from behind. So, a jump attack from behind, sneak attack, and then she fought it off, so it wasn't an immediate attack that finished her in one blow. Anything about the legs?
Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs.
There are tattoos, though.
More tattoos? Similar to those on the rest of her body.
I couldn't analyze the blood streaks because my logic is locked. There might be evidence of sexual assault or not, but again, science and logic, I don't have enough skill points. Let's review. Probably died from being stabbed from behind, unwittingly, and then she fought off her attacker. Blood on the left arm, but not so much on the right. Pentagrams and symbols everywhere, but I guess this is her doing. This isn't related to the murderer, not directly. This is just the thing that she did in her free time.
A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here?
Plenty of pentagrams. I remember Mother's books, apparently.
Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual?
Too many things are locked, but that's to be expected. Once again, have not put any points into occultism or anything. This revolver here on the floor, this French revolver, you gotta keep that in mind. There's blood on it, which means it was here before the attack took place, it would seem. If I had to guess, I'd say that maybe Napoleon or Peru. Napoleon sounds like he was outside of a room, so maybe he was enamored with her. He presented her a firearm as a gift, and she had it in her possession when she was attacked, but she didn't fire it because she didn't know how to use a gun. It's a possible theory. I think I've examined everything I can about this weird room with a bunch of... Boy, I don't know how much of this stuff is related to the attack and how much of it was just part of her daily life. It looks like all of this stuff, books scattered on the floor, pentagrams on the ceiling and floor, laudanum, overturned wine, clocks. A lot of this stuff is just kind of her thing. That's what she did in her free time. That clock might be relevant. The attack might have happened around late in the early morning, but can't be entirely sure about that. Well, seeing as how I burned all of my effort points, I've got to do something about that. Yep. Take some royal jelly, and we'll take another one. And I'll hold on to this other one for now. Just for now.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
That stutter indicates that you are probably lying. I could insinuate that he looks dodgy. Don't tell him anything. What is he doing in the corridor? What is he doing in the corridor? He won't say. Let's speak about Elizabeth's death.
Has anyone told you that Elizabeth was killed last night?
Yes. Rumors spread quickly.
He looks very put out.
It's horrible. How did it happen?
I can say nothing to you, sir. You'd better follow your host's instructions and stay in your quarters.
I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
That seemed to be curt on my part. Probably could have handled that a little more diplomatically. Didn't seem to have the option to do that, though. Also could have pressed him for more information, but didn't feel like that was the right time to do so. Maybe later. I have nothing to implicate him, but he does seem to be a bit worried or concerned. It sounds like he might have had a more personal stake, because a man like that probably wouldn't be too unnerved by a random woman's death. Although, if he thought the attack was coming for him, that would explain that. Although I have no reason to believe why.
President George Washington.
I guess we'll check out the president's room.
A map of Connecticut.
He's got a lot of maps of the United States. Oh, he's in his room. Hello, George Washington.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
It's
Lord
to loot
Mortimer
your
has sent me
room.
to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
I will definitely try. What is his alibi for last night? Yeah, sure, what's your alibi for last night? Got any place you were?
I'm talking to all the guests to find out who has an alibi and, well, who doesn't, Mr. President. Can you tell me what you were doing last night so that I can strike your name off the list?
I spent the night right here, reading.
All night?
Exactly. Emily stopped by in the middle of the night, you can ask her. She wanted to talk about some business we have in common.
Anything whatsoever to do with Elizabeth?
Not at all, Louis. A business matter.
I see. So not very many people can corroborate you being in your room all night. I suppose it does look like he's possibly grieving. Can I bring that up in conversation, or can I just make an astute observation? I'll spend the point.
Are you alright, Mr. President? Are you feeling alright?
Oh, don't worry. It's this rotten toothache. What do you expect? I'm no spring chicken now.
I imagine having wooden teeth means you would have fewer toothaches. Maybe you should look into that.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered.
Don't comfort the president. He's not telling me why he wanted to pry around in her room. That information might be useful to my investigation.
Were you aware that Elizabeth took laudanum?
Yes, she came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
Why would she be taking all of her reserve?
Did she tell you why she was so desperate to get some, Mr. President?
She said she had terrible migraines that wouldn't go away.
More likely for the voices she heard, not the migraines.
What size is your foot?
Mr. President, we found a footprint at the scene of the crime.
Not a dress shoe, I hope. That's all I wear.
No, rest assured. It looks like the print of a big ankle boot. A large size, I'd say.
Perfect. That should help you, Louis. It's a clue.
Yes, it is a clue. Don't end the conversation there. This isn't baby's first mystery solving. Come on, we're not done yet.
Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Perry. But that case was closed, if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened. And I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks.
Yeah, he's high on the list of suspects, although it seems a little too obvious. Questioning the president didn't seem to get us very far. He had some information for us, but I don't know how much of that is going to be pertinent to my investigation.
Golden elixir. I'll keep it for later.
How many games allow you to rob the president of the United States? This is what you get, Mr. President. This is what my tax money is going for. I'm getting some of it back today.
The English and the Americans are preparing a peace treaty. It would appear that Emily is in secret discussion with Washington about reopening trade between the United States and England. If such an arrangement came into being, France would suffer dearly.
That was probably a good use of skill point. And I think that's it for Washington's room. Didn't find a whole lot in there that's going to help me. Talk with them a little bit, but I think I'll have a better chance of finding leads elsewhere. I feel like episode 2 of this game is off to a bit of a slower pace, but that's fine, because I really feel like I'm stepping into the shoes of a detective here. I don't know if I'm uncovering information that would be hidden to everyone else, but I'm going to keep unraveling this mystery, and see if by the end of this chapter I can deduce who murdered this young woman. But until next time, my name is Mike, and this has been The Council. Thank you for joining me.